Hi, welcome back to the Light Side Podcast. My name is Shola. I'm your host. And in today's episode, we're diving into the realm of inner joy. I'll be sharing practical tips on how to cultivate your joy from within you. Before we go in deeper, I want to preface that emotions are a deep and complex topic. It's hard to generalize and it's extremely multifaceted. But what we know for sure is the ebb and flow of emotions apply to everyone. Even the happiest person that you know goes through the highs and lows of being sad and down or low energy. And part of the human experience is the ups and downs. And what we aim to do is strengthen our mindset, have the toolkit to lean onto in dealing with those situations and scenarios and times in our life when we do have the lows versus the highs, right? And how to maintain in the highs, but doesn't mean the lows won't show up. And having that baseline expectation within your mindset can be such a differentiator in your life experience, in that when you're going through the lows, you know that just like every other emotion is temporary, it's transient. I also think there is so much to be said around knowing that we're not alone when we're experiencing the lows and the rocky waves that are coming our way. It's having this sense of community, which I think is the beauty of social media, that we can reach each other in all parts of the world and know that, the pain and discomfort and the frustration is not yours and yours alone. We all know that the world isn't all, rosy and blue skies. Yet not enough emphasis is put on the power we each have within us to make an impact through the power of our emotions and how we feel inside. There's so much evidence that happiness and joy are contagious. And I highly doubt that the terrible things that are happening in the world would be happening if more people were focused on their inner joy and what brings them happiness and peace, right? That's why this is so important, you guys. And where all of this gets really juicy is it's the contrast in experiences that makes us recognize and appreciate the things that we do love, the things that we do like and enjoy. And Abraham Hicks, if you don't know of her work, highly recommend her. I've been listening to her for many years. She mentions it in these terms. She says, the things that you don't like, the bad experiences, is making your point of attraction more crisp for the things that you do want. It's kind of like, think of it like this. You go to the grocery store and the cashier is unreasonably rude to you or, is being disrespectful. Yes, we can wonder and ponder like, geez, this person is so unpleasant. Or we can recognize, wow, I really appreciate positive and cheerful and nice cashiers. I mean, yeah, of course, we can only find those at Trader Joe's. But the Trader Joe's just came to my mind, not sponsored, but obviously. All right. My point is that we can have two approaches. We can have the approach of, trying to decipher why they're acting that way, or we can realize that, first of all, their actions are way beyond our control for whatever reason. We can end that chain of events of spreading negative energy right there by leaving it with them. Really, instead, choosing to see what I do enjoy are cashiers who are pleasant, who are kind, who are respectful. And so, that makes your point of attraction more crisp. And to be clear, there are great cashiers everywhere, not just at Trader Joe's, kind of joking, but I think we can also dive into the topic of energy and how our energy attracts some of the interactions that we have. And so that will be for another episode. With that said, there's also no switch that will just make sure that you only experience happy emotions moving forward. We're human and we're going to experience the highs and lows. But what I'm going to share with you today are habits that have helped me cultivate more joy from within me. And I think that's all that we can really do, is put effort and consistency in embedding and embodying habits and practices that can help us cultivate more and more joy. So, with that, let's get into the tips we have planned for today with number one, intentionality, choosing joy. Let's consider this. What if a higher power or your higher self or someone that you truly trust and respect were to tell you, hey, from this day forward, your purpose is to find joy, is to choose joy as much as you possibly can every single day, in the smallest to big ways, in the mundane to the biggest events. I want you to find joy. How would that change the trajectory of your day and the experiences you have? It's like asking yourself that question of, okay, if I had to intentionally choose joy, where would I find it in my day-to-day experiences? What lens do I need to put on so that I can tune into it more and more as part of my daily life? And so it becomes your mission. It's almost like being a joy agent. So not only are you going out there being a nurse, firefighter, a banker, insert your occupation, but also being a joy agent, you're looking for things that make you happy, the things you love about life, the things you love about your life specifically, and sharing that with others through your energy, through the joy within you that's contagious. Like, really consider, how would that change your day-to-day life? Would you maybe notice the cars that you love on the road while you're driving, or notice the sunset on your drive home, the cup of coffee you're drinking or tea, whatever it might be? With this, we are choosing to intentionally find what we enjoy in the here and now. Notice I didn't suggest changing jobs or relationships or whatever, right? But finding joy in what is right here, right now, in this present moment without having to change things outside of us. Another way to look at this is this notion that comes up a lot in the workplace. It's around, if you want to get promoted, if you want to get that next role, then you need to be acting that role. You need to already be doing the functions or, portraying the skill sets that come with that. And so the same thing applies to pretty much everything else in life, right? Like, even joy. In order to become more joyful, we need to notice what is right here, right now, that does make us joyful, that does, make us happy. And I'm sure by looking, you will find it. And by doing this, we're sharpening our attention to notice and pick up and, pay attention to the things that we do like. And by doing so, when more things to be happy and joyful about show up, we are more likely to notice it. It's not just going right through us or right past us. And this does happen a lot, where we don't recognize how much joy we find in something until it's taken away from us. Like, it can even be as simple as, your favorite creamer not being available at the coffee shop, or maybe getting a bad cut or injury with your hand where you can't use it as often, and you recognize, wow, I got so much joy from being able to use my hands doing all these activities like cooking and, I don't know, playing guitar, you name it, right? So that's what is so beneficial, to sharpen our attention to what we have right now, what we're so fortunate for. By noticing the things that you're happy about in your life right now, you are allowing it to amplify. You are opening the doors for more. We're sending this message into the world that our arms are wide open for more joyful experiences, for more happiness. There's this popular quote that's been going around. It says something like, imagine you gave somebody a gift, and the person you gave the gift to was unhappy and told you, I hate this, it's the color purple, I hate purple. And, you're likely not going to give that person a gift again because of their reaction or lack of acknowledgement of your effort. And so it's the same notion with everything else in life too. And similarly with our inner work, we can take it up a notch by sharing it with others. There is true power in spreading joy, and really doing so from not with the intention of it coming back to us, because Expectation comes from a lack or scarcity mindset. And, we know there's an abundance of joy. You don't need it to come back to you because there's more where that came from, right? And so we give from a place of pure positive energy and intention. And we know that emotions have real energetic frequencies tied to them. So love, joy, gratitude are all of the same. I believe it's about 528 hertz, I think. Anyway, they're all in the same frequency. And so imagine the power of that. Just as when someone with positive energy comes into a room and can change your day around, or you interact with a really positive person wherever that you go, at the grocery store, wherever it may be, you can do the same for another. It can be a random encounter at the subway entry, and you can lift someone's energy and it will ripple to so many people, spouses, children, colleagues, friends. And the fact that your joy alone can impact and improve the lives of so many other people with practically costing absolutely nothing is so empowering and enriching for everyone. You're also elevating your own energy and your day-to-day experiences too. It feels really, really good to connect with people in a positive way. Exchanging positive energy feels good to us. As that famous quote says, maybe it's just on the back of airplanes, I'm not sure, but there's a saying that goes, put your own mask on first, right? And so the same goes with your joy. You want to prioritize your inner joy, because when your cup is full, when you are content and happy and at ease, then you can share that with others, and as a result, elevate others' energy too. That's such a beautiful power that we each have. Also, contentment is so underrated. Being okay and satisfied with what is, like being at peace with what is such an extremely good place to be in. Imagine how powerful and beautiful life would be. Everyone is choosing joy. And that takes me to point number 2, or probably 3 now, because we covered sharing. That should be a point. And number 3, which is celebrate your daily life, celebrate your process, like celebrate what you are doing on a day-to-day basis. There are so many sayings around this that it's not about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey and so forth, right? We're all familiar with it. But it's true. We spend more time in the process in our day-to-day than the actual accomplishment. When you consider your past accomplishments, do you think about the process that you had to go through, the effort, the long days, nights, or whatever you had to do? Or do you think about the outcome? And similarly, when you think ahead about what you want to accomplish, do you think about how it's going to be in the day-to-day of it, or just the end result? And I think this is so powerful, because so much of our joy lies in this space, in our ability to be able to celebrate and enjoy what it is that we are doing. I want to share some examples. Take time to celebrate that presentation that you had that, was slotted for 15 minutes, but you only got 5 minutes. Celebrate it anyway, because you worked for that. It's the process of your daily life. If that includes presenting, maybe for you, it is making a certain sale. Celebrate the fact that you showed up for that sale. If you're a content creator, celebrate that you posted the content that you shared, not how it's received by people, because you can't control that, not based on how well it did, right? It's like, celebrate going to the gym 3 days, even though you had planned 5, because in celebrating yourself for showing up, you are rewarding yourself, and you're more likely to show up 5 days the next time. But when we are down on ourselves, when we're not celebrating that, the fact that we did show up for what we said we were going to do, and we are showing up for the day-to-day, because our day-to-day is where we're living life. There's celebrate sleeping when you get a chance instead of feeling guilty. How amazing is it to have a chance to sleep? I see it more and more now with my siblings and friends that have babies, because, sleeping is precious. And Who cares? You have that right now. Sleep when you can. Celebrate your life in small and big ways. And celebrating can be as simple as telling yourself you're proud of you, treating yourself to your favorite beverage, be getting a massage, watching a game, whatever it is for you. Like for you, it's doing a dance or like dancing at your desk or listening to music, your favorite song, whatever it is that you enjoy, do that. We tend to take things way too seriously as if things are only worth celebrating when we reach a certain parameter or a certain measure of success, whereas we really should celebrate more often. And it reinforces you both psychologically and mentally and emotionally, really, that it's rewarding to show up in your day-to-day life. You don't have to escape it. It doesn't have to be conditional based on the outcome of things that you can't control. You can enjoy and be happier every day. When we do so, we take our power back, not putting our joy at the mercy of outcomes and results that are outside of our control, those accomplishments. We're focused on our process. When we shift our celebration to the process as opposed to the outcome, we really make a big paradigm shift in our experience because we're not expecting things to be a certain way for us to be happy. And by doing so, we're infusing this energy of surrender. We let go. And you can really only control your actions. So you're celebrating that you are showing up. You're celebrating that you are taking the action in your daily life. And you're celebrating things that are in your control. And the outcome isn't the source of your happiness. But if it does turn out the way you wanted to, then amazing, right? Like, great, we will celebrate even more. but it isn't the driver of your celebration. It isn't the driver of your happiness, because then your happiness becomes conditional upon things outside of you. Which takes me to point number 4. This is something I adopted many years ago when I first moved to New York. And I guess the most simple way of expressing it is it's a blessing walk. And what that means is you count a blessing with every step that you take. I adopted this when I first moved to New York. With each step that I took from the train to the office, that was my reminder. With every step that I took, I would think of a blessing. By the way, it was so crisp and cold. I had moved in the middle of the worst winter storms to hit NYC, and it was to the point where the Hudson River had literally frozen over. There was icicles, like islands of ice. So wild, like Antarctica. But anyways, think about it like a gratitude rampage, but with a blessing count. You are acknowledging the things that you feel you're blessed to have. It can be as simple as having an activity within your routine that reminds you to do this practice, where you attach it to something you already do. You remember, okay, when I get off this stop, when I turn into this street, or when I get into my car, or when I brush my teeth, when I walk my dog, I'm going to emphasize my blessing practice. I'm going to think about at least 10 things that I feel is a blessing in my life. And really, this is your energy. Just give it a try for a day, and I'm sure you'll notice how you feel before and after. So whatever works for you and your daily routine, having as part of your day where you're like, I'm so blessed to have my dog. I'm so blessed to have a car. I'm so blessed to have fresh running water. I'm so blessed to have a job, for as long as you can, right? Make it 60 seconds, make it longer. But I invite you to incorporate this into your routine because it's honestly too good not to do. It's free, it's accessible, it elevates your energy, it makes you feel better. What you focus on grows. It's one of the big laws of the universe. You hear it through when it rains, it pours. When, some things are going wrong, you feel like more things start to go wrong. And that's why it's important to have things in our toolkit that we can lean on to shift out of that energy so that we can stop the train. The blessing walk or the blessing rampage, whatever we want to call it, can be that tool for us to lean onto. And the big bonus in having it as part of our daily practice is that we're not only leaning onto it retroactively or when we need it, but it's fueling us on a regular basis. Okay, so now number 5, that is being delusionally hopeful. I don't mean this in terms of getting your hopes up for disappointment. Definitely not, because, going into something thinking that, oh, delusionally hopeful, meaning it's likely going to be disappointed, does impact the amount of energy, effort, and faith or belief that you put towards something. So please don't do that. But what I mean by it is embracing a blank slate every single day. And what that means is to be present. And I know that it isn't easy, right? Something I work on daily. So what that will look like is not harboring old pains and wounds and not allowing them to impact the actions that you want to take today, or you may otherwise if you didn't have that baggage or that experience. Instead, we start each day at neutral or positive expectation. Imagine how much this would change your experiences, whether it is in your relationships or at work. Maybe you have a colleague who you always butt heads with, or maybe your boss tends to react in a certain way when you propose an idea. And it can be anything. But when you approach it as if you have no prior baggage, no prior pain or hurts with how it goes when you do X, Y, and Z, then you're more likely to take that risk and to be bold and to give it a try again. And when we approach conversations that have been difficult in the past, or people that haven't been very kind to us, from a place of pure positive intention and energy, we allow our relationships and these situations to transform and ultimately elevate how we feel on a day-to-day basis. It impacts our level of fulfillment and happiness and joy, because we're not holding back, right? And we're also not harboring these heavy, sticky feelings. The heaviness doesn't deserve the space you're giving it. And the only thing that is keeping it there is allowing a fresh day to be tainted by the experiences of the past. Why not allow it to dissipate and start fresh? Holding on to past experiences that didn't serve us and applying it to a new day is like doing the same thing and expecting different results. We're only doing ourselves a disservice. There's this quote by Buddha. He says, holding on to anger is like holding on to coal and expecting not to get burned. And the same thing applies to holding on to the pains of the past in starting a new day. Putting it another way, it's like approaching today, a fresh, brand new day with fresh energy, expectation that our efforts are going to yield the same results as they did prior days. Whereas there's a world of possibilities of what today can bring for you. There are lessons you've learned from prior days, there are new opportunities. Things are continuously evolving and shifting. And so you will always be in your power when you are embracing the day and holding the power of your joy in your hands through what you choose to do, through the actions you choose to take, and not being inhibited by the way you think others may react because of the past or how a similar situation took place. You take the power into your hands, which leads into point 6, and that is acceptance. Finding joy through acceptance is this whole nother level of peace and joy. It almost gives you wings in life, really. It's this level of pure surrender with what is, and let's dive into it. Okay, you might be thinking, how do you expect me to accept when someone is being rude to me, or accept a situation that is unpleasant and I'm not enjoying? And I can totally understand that, right? But the big mindset shift with acceptance is changing our perception of resistance. This is a big aha moment for me energetically. The thing that we're trying to resist, we're actually holding on to by not accepting it. By resisting it, we are keeping it in our energy. By accepting, we're letting go of our grip. And let's be honest, controlling outcomes or resisting things that the way they are requires an exhausting amount of effort and energy. And a lot of times it's not even possible. Whereas with acceptance, you're in a place of unconditional love. You're in a place of acceptance. You're saying, okay, I'm in traffic. Great. Now I can listen to that podcast or finish listening to that audiobook or catch up with Daisy. I don't know, just making it up, right? But through your acceptance of a situation, you can, turn lemons into lemonade, right? In this case, if you were in traffic, you are embarking on personal growth, you're educating yourself, you're catching up and connecting with friends, or maybe you're just taking a time out and clearing your head by sitting in silence and or listening to some good music and dancing and singing in the car, letting out some fumes. I don't know, but the same thing applies most of the time in other situations too. Even if the doctor's office, they're running late, I personally have books on my phone that I like to read, or I've tried to take it with me now when I go places so I can have some off-screen time. But it depends, right? You can catch up on emails. There's just so much that we can do instead of resisting frustrations that come up against our plan, because we don't really have that much control. And so recognizing that a lot of times our frustrations come from a lack of acceptance. It comes from resisting something or a situation for what it is, then we can shift out of that much quicker. And a lot of times, this is another topic we'll have to get into, there is a concept of a pain body, which we'll dive into another time, but it is the cause of why so many of us gravitate to feeling bad or finding things that don't make us feel good. There's so much to say in this space, so we'll have to break it up in effort of keeping this episode not so long on the shorter side. I'll quickly recap. I didn't talk about gratitude specifically, but I'm sure you noticed it was weaved into everything that we've talked about so far. But also, I will share one tip around gratitude because I think gratitude is so important. There are so many proven benefits. And as Rumi, a Sufi poet, says, if you say one prayer a day, make it thank you. There's a lot of healing power that we can tap into with gratitude. For instance, pain comes to mind. We just touched on it. That will dive in another episode. But, if in terms of acceptance, right? If there is something that is extremely hurtful and is causing you a lot of pain, gratitude can be a huge tool to lean on. I'll share some examples. I have carpal tunnel in both my wrists, right? But the way that I shift my energy as it comes to the pain is I focus on the things that I am grateful for as it relates to it. So I'm really thankful for acupuncture and massage therapy and physical therapy, YouTube even, for providing videos and tools in order to self-soothe. Technology that allows me to speak and it'll type for me, right? And there's just so much to be grateful for in every situation. If you're dealing with a tough person in your life, focusing on their positive qualities, on their positive traits. Oh, they're a stickler. Well, their positive quality is that they're very thorough. I don't know, I'm just making it up, but finding things to be grateful for is really helpful in overcoming that pain and changing our energy and our mindset towards an experience. What it does for us is it allows us to shift our perception so that we can improve our experience of what we're going through, because a lot of times it's difficult to change what you're going through. Sometimes you can, right? And by all means do it. It's not by any means promoting accepting things in really bad or unhealthy situations. Not at all. I trust that you are making judgments that are sound and fitting for you. So to quickly recap, we talked about embracing joy from within through intentionality, choosing joy, being a joy agent and sharing it with others, celebrating our daily life to radical acceptance and gratitude of what is. I will also say one other thing about music that just came into my mind, and that is be mindful if you're listening to really sad or depressing songs versus joyful and happy songs. Music carries energy too. Combining all of these, I hope that you are able to add more energy into your day. There was a lot that we covered. So if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me. My contact information is in the show details. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and follow. Let me know what you thought of the first full episode. I look forward to the next one. And until next time, I send you lots of love. Thank you.